Hey guys, welcome back to the Crypto Explorer channel. Today we're taking a dive into Extra Finance. We're checking how you can use the protocol, ways to earn with it, how it works, etc. This is a protocol I just covered on my last video because they're doing really well on Base. And if you go into the leverage yield farming protocols on DeFi llama, you'll see that even among the competition, they're ranking quite good. Yeah, so here we are. So it's a top 3 protocol so far in the ranks of leverage farming TVL rankings. Now, Extra Finance allows you to do just that, leverage yield farming and also lending. So these are the two main options. They have a native token which is Extra. Right now, the token price is 16 cents. It really saw a price appreciation for the past couple months, or for the past month. Since March, you see here the TVL pumping, and the same thing happened with the extra price, because usually that's what happens whenever TVL pumps, the price of the native token just goes along. But the TVL that you see here, over 100 million is on Base, roughly 30 will be on OP. But there's still room for Extra Finance to grow. It's one of the top rankings in their own category. So yeah, that's what we'll be covering, talking a little bit about how you can use the protocol. And guys, before getting started, hit that like button, subscribe, join the Crypto Explorer community. In here, we are all about checking these protocols, earning passive income, sharing this information with you guys. We're gonna talk about the Extra Finance right now. And guys, let's jump in. Okay, so there's going to be two main aspects, the farming and the lending. There's also staking and bridging available. We'll cover also the staking because staking unlocks you some other perks here with the farming aspect. The bridge allows you to move your funds in between OP and Base. If you see some pools that you want to join in on OP, yeah, you can move your funds from Base there or vice versa. So yeah, it's a cool thing. They have two audits. If you click the green shield icon, you'll see they have two audit reports, a bug bounty program, and an insurance if you want to buy for your assets on Extra Finance, which is a good idea, since if you're going to play with high leverage, that might be a good idea. Before getting into the details here on the pools, let's just go here and check the staking. So the staking allows you to stake their native token Extra, and you're gonna earn a max APR of 162%. You see there is a timer here saying whenever the new round starts, and these are the epochs. So whenever a new round ends, or whenever a round ends, you are getting paid with their APR, and then the new round starts. What are you earning? So why staking? You'll get these weekly APR rewards I just mentioned. You will unlock up to 7x leverage. On the other hand, if you don't meet the criteria, and the criteria is 10k extra tokens here staked, you will be leveraging up to 3x, which is very reasonable, and I would say it's a responsible amount to start leveraging with. Up to 7x, I would only advise that for people who are comfortable with how leveraging yield farming works and liquidation and etc., and know the full risks, because the thing with leverage yield farming is just the same thing as with trading. You can earn a lot, but you can also lose a lot really fast. So really know what you're doing. I might do a video about strategies, about longing and shorting, and with the leverage yield farming, so keep an eye out for that. Another reason for you guys to subscribe, obviously. And you will also be able to unlock one-click rebalance feature, participate in governance, and more benefits to be announced soon. All right, this is what you get if you basically become a shareholder of the protocol, and they will pay you both in extra tokens when you stake. So this APR is paid both in extra tokens and also in a share of the protocol fees that have been generated. All right. Now, that being said, let's move on to lending. And lending is where people deposit their tokens. And if you deposit here on their pools, these are the tokens that people, when they're leverage yield farming, they'll be borrowing from the same pool. So there's going to be pools on OP, on Base also, and there's going to be different APYs. So the APYs for each pool will depend on how much in demand is a specific token. So if the pool is not really that that much used so far. So the percentage of the, you see underneath each token there's a two numbers. So on the left is the amount that is being used, and on the right is the full amount which is on that pool, and has the full capacity of the pool is being used, the higher the APY will be. Here on OP, there's not really super crazy APYs, but on base there are. Before showing you those, let me just tell you that here on some lending pools, they are paying with OP. So if you're bullish on OP, you might want to take a look out for that. In this specific one, ETH pool, they're paying both OP and the extra token. And now let's move here on to base pools, because in base they won't pay you incentives in OP obviously, but there's more pools that they're paying incentives with extra tokens. So that's something that you need to assess for your own strategy if it's of your own interest to just grow your extra bag, your extra token bag. So now here on base, you see there's more demand. So USDC, the APY is super high. It's very close to 40%, which is not common for a stable coin. This is even higher. You see almost 100. This is a bit over 90%, but it's super high for a stable coin. USD plus the same, and at the same time, these APYs can vary and will vary depending on the demand of a pool. Because right now, for example, we can be looking at USD plus and the APY is 95%, but if in a minute from now someone just goes and returns some USDC here to the pool, the APY will go down. So there's some crazy ones here on triple digits. So VN is on triple digits, GB the same. So yeah, these are super in high demand, and that's why the APY is so high, right? This one is full on being used so far. Take EN. In dollar is also a stable coin with a APY which is really huge. And basically here on these pools there's going to be no locking period, so you can deposit and withdraw whenever you want. You're going to get paid mostly with the specific token that you are deposit, but there's going to be a percentage. In this case is going to be on extra. It varies from pool to pool, you get the idea. And the only thing that can delay the point in time since you claim your withdrawal and get your withdrawal, the only thing that can delay it is, for example, if a pool is being completely used and people have not yet returned their tokens that they had borrowed. So in that case, yeah, it can take some time, but that's definitely not something that's going to be super often. But yeah, it can happen. And it can also happen the case, for example, when you're still farming with leverage, what happens is that you're going to borrow tokens. If the impermanent loss makes for the position to be liquidated, the people who are borrowing the tokens, their collateral will take for the loss. So they have a bot that manages those liquidation moments, and whenever that bot jumps in, it will take from their collateral if needed and pay back to the user pool. The bot might at times, that's something that they state in their docs, might at times not to be able to just close the position in time. In that case, there's going to be bad debt being generated, but so far it hasn't happened. But still, it's a risk. It's something that you should be aware of. Now let's jump in here on farming. This is where they really showcase the full potential of the protocol. So there's going to be different pools again on OP or on base. You can just filter through stable pools or correlated. Let me go briefly through the main differences, because this is really important since you're playing with leverage here. So leverage, it can wreck you or really fast, or give you profits also, extremely high profits, multiplied profits. So there's going to be the risk of liquidation since that happens, and your liquidation will be your collateral. So let's say you're going into this key or chi, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, and die pair. So in this pool, let's say this is not the best example because it's a stable pool. So let's go here with another example. And stable pools are going to be super strong. It's going to be really hard for them to just depeg and make you suffer impermanent loss. So let's go here with red OP. For example, let's say you have $100 worth of OP and you want to leverage this one 3x. So you're gonna go and buy the remaining $200 from the pools that they have. If the impermanent loss kicks in and your total position that should be worth $300 starts to go low, they will liquidate you at some point to make sure that the borrowed tokens are returned to the lenders, because that's the first priority of the protocol, making sure that the lenders get their money at all times. Because when you're leveraging here, you assume upfront all the risk for the position that you are opening. Okay, so this is more of to give you an understanding of liquidations, etc. I might do another video explaining that in full detail, but right now let's just see here about stable pools, and you'll see why this that I just shared with you really matters. Now, stable pools are going to be pairs which are pegged to either to the dollar, or for example in this case MS ETH and wrapped ETH pegged to ETH. So it's going to be a pair of two tokens that are pegged to the same original one, so to say. So they will have virtually always the same value unless something happens that makes them depeg. And that can happen also with USDC dollar. For example, something happens that make some of this token or both depeg. Yes, in that case you will experience impermanent loss. But if you stick with solid pairs like let's say Frax dollar, for example, so don't get too crazy with tokens that you don't know nothing about. Basically, that's about it. Go for ones which have high trust from the DeFi community. Those would be your best bet, because highly likely those will not depeg. And also, even in the event of you going with this MS ETH or wrapped ETH pool, even if ETH goes down in price, they will always have the same. You will not suffer impermanent loss because they will both be pegged to ETH price. So although your position might lose value, it's not going to lose value due to impermanent loss. So you won't really trigger any liquidation of any sort, because what matters to the protocol when they trigger liquidation is that, for example, if you borrowed 1 ETH, is that they do give back to the lender 1 ETH, and they don't look for value per se, they look for the number of tokens that you borrowed. So correlated work a little bit different. Correlated pairs are pairs that they do have different prices, but they usually move along in price with one another. So what does that mean? For example, let's go here with wrap ETH OP. ETH price will generally determine OP price. So when ETH goes up, OP goes up. ETH goes down, OP goes down. This is being correlated. I'll link down in the description a video where I explain this and how you can use the correlation matrix on DeFi Llama to see for yourself for any token pair if they are correlated or not. So check that out if you're wanting to learn more about it. But that's the main difference between correlated and stable pools. I'm not sure why this one is showing here. This one should be unstable because they're both pegged to OP price, right? MSOP and OP, but it doesn't really matter. You get the point. So that's the difference between correlated and stable pool. And with correlated, you can still experience impermanent loss. It's a bit more riskier than with stable pool, but still, impermanent loss can still kick in. And the main difference between leverage yield farming and regular yield farming is that with regular one, you're not borrowing, so you won't get liquidated, and you will only experience impermanent loss when you opt out of a position, when you sell your LP and get out of the pool. That's when you will realize impermanent loss, because if you don't sell, you don't really realize it. So it's basically the same thing as holding a token and not selling at a loss. Now let's take a look here at the APYs. Now APYs here is showing instead of APR because this is how the protocol pays you. So there's going to be the yield farming percentage. This is both the fees. So for example, with this one, OP Velo, it's on Velodrome. So when you're farming on this one, your deposit or the protocol deposits for you everything in this pool on Velodrome. So they're going to be earning this yield for you, 454%. The token borrowing interest is deducted from that, and then you get a net of total APR 431%. And that's going to be paid to you, but not in the by using fees and the farm token. So you never get those paid. What you're getting is that your position of LP on OP Velo pair, it will be growing over time. So this APY, it's just mind blowing, but yeah. If you would just let it compound for a year, because the protocol compounds it automatically for you, you would be 1,040% up in your current position that you would start today. So basically, that's the main difference between APY and APR. APY is constantly compounding. So what the protocol does is it takes your total APR of the day, and at least once a day they will compound into your position. If you want to take profits, what you need to do is then take a percentage of your LP position and sell that. You pay your debt back with the tokens that you borrowed, and then you sell some of your LP position, and that's how you get profits with this type of farming. So this is not something for the short run. I would say this is more, I like to say yield farming is a mid to long term type of play. But here in with leverage, in fact, what you can do is that you can also short. So there's two strategies: you can long or short, and basically whenever you borrow tokens, you're shorting those tokens that you choose to borrow, right? So I'm not going to go into detail here on this video. I don't want to make it too long, but that's also something which is available. Shorting, it might seem counterintuitive, but shorting, you borrow a specific token. It can be ETH, for example, and when you then go ahead and borrow that, you're automatically shorting. But there's more to know about it, obviously. From here, it shows you also the daily APR. So this is paying over 1% a day. Super juicy. Then you click on farm and you just start to tweak in your position that you were planning to open for the farm. So you can start with having a specific percentage of one asset or of both. You can choose here the asset to borrow. You can move your leverage here, and there's even templates, so you can go neutral, long, you can go short, and these are setups that are predetermined. And then there's the asset to borrow. You can go in between OP, they show you the borrowing interest. On Velo it's a bit higher, or you can go dual borrow. This is for more for advanced users. And notice how when you just select here OP or Velo, the PNL simulation of the chart really changes and gives you an idea of what your strategy could be. Although don't take this super strictly, because markets are volatile. And let's say if you go here with $100 worth of OP, then you set your leverage, and basically when you do that, the remaining value that needs to be added to those $100 will be automatically borrowed from their pools. You just select here the asset which you want to borrow, and from there on, then you can go and start your leverage yield farming position. And that's about it. Check their docs if you're interested in knowing more about it. They do really good examples of liquidation, longing, shorting, and all of that. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. If there's anything that you want to ask, feel free to use the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one.